Learn how to clear the input field after a task has been added. In this lesson, we want to look at how you can clear the input after adding a task. You will notice that up to this point, we can successfully add task now, and it will show going for summer vacation, and it will show on our web page. You can see it going for summer vacation, going for my project defense. But one thing I want you to notice is that despite adding these things to a web page, despite being able to add tasks now and make it appear on our web page, you will notice that whatever that is typed inside the input box still retains even after the task has been added to the web page. So we want to look at how you can clear this input after adding a task, because this improves the user experience so that users won't have to manually delete the previous task before typing another one. Imagine if I want to type another task now, I will have to manually delete this and do something like I want to hit. And once I add it and I want to add another one, I will still have to manually delete this. So we want to look at how we can make our input field more dynamic, such that once you add a task, the content of that task dynamically disappears without having to manually clear it from the input box. So let's move into our script code and see how we can do that. So let's put a comment and say we want to clear the input box after adding task. So how do you do this? It's just very simple. Remember that when we wanted to grab the value from our input box, which was what happens here, we used a value property in JavaScript. Now that we want to clear it, we will simply still need that value property in order to clear it. And so we are just simply going to take that variable again, which is the text input, which is targeting the input box. Don't forget that the input box itself has an ID of task, which is what we have here, and is what we store inside this variable of task input. So just call on it task input dot value, and then you just set it to a double quote, that is an empty variable. And so this will help you to clear tags whenever you add it to the page. So let's verify what we just did to know if this actually works. So let's go ahead and click I want to hit. You can see one to go for summer vacation. You can see that going for my proposal defense. Now you can see that as I'm adding those tags, it is clearing off from the input box, and we can easily type into the input box again because the previous task has been cleared from it. So this example simply shows us that after adding a task, instead of making the user to erase it manually, JavaScript clears that text box automatically by assigning an empty string to its value property, which exactly is what we set up here. So we are basically assigning an empty string, which this is the empty string, to the text input, that is this input box value property. So we are setting it to an empty string in order to remove whatever is typed in automatically after the add tags button has been clicked. So basically, in this lesson, our to-do list app is becoming more user-friendly. After adding a task, the previous text that is inside the box can now be cleared out automatically without having to manually delete it by simply setting the value property to an empty string. Since the value gets its content of an input field, it can also be used to change those contents. And by this, we just simply assign the empty string to clear the text box instantly which makes it ready for the next task. So now let's look at a few key takeaways from this process that we just implemented in this lesson. Number one, the value property can both read and change the content of an input field. Number two, assigning empty string to value property clears the text box. Number three, clearing the input improves the user experience because users don't manually need to, click inside the box and start deleting what they have typed initially. And lastly, our to-do list app now lets users add tasks continuously without manually deleting previous text.